In the quiet town of Maplewood, Virginia, where the sound of church bells once symbolized peace and community, a brutal murder shattered the tranquility and exposed the dark secrets lurking beneath the surface. When beloved parishioner Emily Carter was found dead in the very church she devoted her life to, the community was left reeling. Who could commit such a heinous act in a place meant for solace? As detectives delve into the investigation, they uncover a web of betrayal, hidden affairs, and a shocking truth that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about faith and morality. As we unravel the chilling details of Emily Carter's tragic story, we invite you to reflect on the impact of trust and betrayal within your own lives. Have you or someone you know faced a similar situation? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your voice matters. If this story resonates with you, please like and share this video to help raise awareness about the hidden darkness that can exist in our communities. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more gripping true crime stories that challenge our understanding of faith and morality. In the heart of Maplewood, Virginia, a town where the air is thick with the scent of blooming dogwoods and the laughter of children echoes through tree-lined streets, a dark shadow looms over the community. At the center of this tale is Father Samuel Whitaker, a man revered for his unwavering faith and dedication to his parishioners at St. Andrew's Church. Known for his compassionate sermons and warm demeanor, Father Whitaker was a pillar of strength in a town that prided itself on its close-knit bonds and shared values. Emily Carter, a beloved member of the congregation, embodied the spirit of Maplewood. Her kindness and commitment to helping others made her a cherished figure, especially among the town's youth. As a devoted volunteer, she spent countless hours organizing community events and supporting those in need, earning the trust and admiration of her neighbors. St. Andrew's Church stood as a beacon of hope and solace, its steeple reaching toward the heavens, symbolizing the faith that united the townspeople. But beneath this idyllic facade, secrets festered, and the tranquility of Maplewood was about to be shattered. As whispers of betrayal began to circulate, the community would soon learn that even the most trusted among them could harbor dark intentions. What lay ahead would test their faith and challenge their understanding of morality in ways they never imagined. Emily Carter was more than just a name in the small town of Maplewood. She was a beacon of light in a community that thrived on connection and compassion. A devoted member of St. Andrew's Church, Emily dedicated her life to serving others, embodying the very essence of kindness. Her warm smile and gentle demeanor made her a beloved figure among parishioners, and her unwavering faith inspired many. Whether organizing charity events, leading youth groups, or volunteering at the local food bank, Emily's contributions were felt deeply throughout the town. The townspeople viewed Emily as a nurturing figure, particularly among the children and the elderly. She had a unique ability to connect with people of all ages, often spending afternoons reading to children at the library or visiting nursing homes to bring joy to those who felt forgotten. Her presence was a source of comfort, and her laughter echoed through the halls of St. Andrew's, where she often led community gatherings. Emily was the kind of person who made everyone feel seen and valued, a true embodiment of the church's mission to serve and uplift. However, as the days turned into weeks leading up to her tragic disappearance, subtle changes began to emerge in Emily's demeanor. Friends noted that her laughter seemed less frequent, and her once vibrant spirit appeared dimmed. She became more withdrawn, often lost in thought, as if grappling with an unseen burden. Whispers of concern circulated among her close friends, who wondered if the pressures of her commitments were taking a toll. Despite her outward strength, Emily faced personal struggles that she kept hidden from those around her. The weight of expectations, both from herself and her community, began to manifest in her behavior. She missed a few church events, a rarity for someone so dedicated, and her friends noticed her reluctance to engage in conversations that once brought her joy. As the community prepared for the annual spring festival, a time of celebration and unity, the absence of Emily's familiar presence was felt acutely. Little did they know, the darkness that had begun to creep into her life would soon culminate in a tragedy that would forever alter the fabric of Maplewood. The question lingered: what secrets lay beneath the surface of this seemingly perfect life, and how would they come to light in the wake of her disappearance? Father Samuel Whitaker had been a fixture in the Maplewood community for over 2 decades, a steadfast moral compass guiding his parishioners through the trials of life. With his deep, resonant voice and commanding presence, he delivered sermons that inspired faith and hope, drawing families to St. Andrew's Church week after week. Known for his unwavering commitment to his flock, Father Whitaker was seen as a man of integrity, a leader who embodied the values of compassion and service. His long tenure had earned him the respect and admiration of the townspeople, who who viewed him as a pillar of strength in their lives. However, beneath the surface of this revered figure lay a strict nature that often bordered on authoritarian. Father Whitaker was known for his rigid adherence to church doctrine, and his expectations of moral conduct were high. While many appreciated his guidance, others felt the weight of his judgment, particularly when it came to matters of personal choice and behavior. This strictness, coupled with an air of infallibility, created an environment where dissent was rarely voiced, and secrets were easily buried. As whispers of Emily Carter's disappearance began to circulate, the community's perception of Father Whitaker began to shift. The initial shock and disbelief were palpable. How could their trusted priest, a man they had turned to for solace and guidance, possibly be involved in something so heinous? The very idea seemed unfathomable. Parishioners grappled with the cognitive dissonance of their faith being intertwined with the potential for betrayal. In the days following Emily's disappearance, the church became a hub of speculation and fear. Some congregants recalled moments of discomfort, instances where Father Whitaker's strict demeanor had felt oppressive rather than nurturing. Others began to question the priest's past, searching for signs that might explain the unthinkable. As the investigation unfolded, the community was forced to confront the unsettling reality that the man they had trusted with their spiritual well-being could harbor dark secrets. The tension in Maplewood grew as the police began to investigate Father Whitaker's involvement in Emily's life. The once sacred walls of St. Andrew's Church, a place of refuge, now echoed with uncertainty and fear. As the truth began to unravel, the townspeople were left to wonder, could the man they revered as a moral leader truly be capable of such a crime? The answers lay hidden in the shadows, waiting to be uncovered, and the community's faith would soon be put to the ultimate test. It was a crisp autumn morning in Maplewood, Virginia, the kind of day that promised warmth and community as the leaves turned vibrant shades of orange and gold. The townspeople bustled about, preparing for the annual Harvest Festival, a cherished event that brought families together to celebrate the season. But on this particular Sunday something felt amiss. Emily Carter, the heart of St. Andrew's Church, was conspicuously absent from the morning service. As the congregation gathered, whispers of concern began to ripple through the pews. Emily was known for her unwavering commitment to her church and community, and her absence was deeply felt. Father Samuel Whitaker, usually buoyed by her presence, noticed the unease among his parishioners. He delivered his sermon with a heavy heart, urging everyone to keep Emily in their thoughts and prayers, unaware that the day would soon take a dark turn. After the service, friends and family began to worry. Emily had not answered her phone, and her usual routine of volunteering at the local shelter was abandoned. By late afternoon, her friends, including Lisa Thompson, decided to check on her. They arrived at her home, knocking frantically on the door, but received no response. Panic set in as they realized something was terribly wrong. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over Maplewood, Lisa made the fateful decision to head to St. Andrew's Church, knowing Emily often found solace there. The church, usually a sanctuary of peace, felt eerily quiet as she entered. The flickering candlelight illuminated the pews, but the warmth of community was absent. As Lisa walked through the nave, a chilling sensation crept over her. It was in the dimly lit sacristy that Lisa stumbled upon the unimaginable. There, lying motionless on the cold stone floor, was Emily Carter. The horror of the scene was overwhelming. Emily's lifeless body was surrounded by a pool of crimson, a stark contrast to the white altar cloth. Lisa's scream pierced the silence, echoing through the church and sending shockwaves through the community. The news of Emily's murder spread like wildfire through Maplewood, igniting a firestorm of disbelief and grief. How could this happen in their peaceful town? The very notion that someone could commit such a brutal act against a beloved member of their community was unfathomable. Friends and neighbors gathered in shock, their faces pale and eyes wide with horror. As the police cordoned off the church, the reality of the situation began to sink in. The town that had once felt so safe now seemed shrouded in fear and uncertainty. Questions flooded the minds of the townspeople. Who could have done this? Why would anyone want to harm Emily, a woman known for her kindness and generosity? In the days that followed, Maplewood was gripped by a palpable tension. The Harvest Festival, once a time of joy, was overshadowed by mourning. The community came together to honor Emily's memory, but the shadow of her tragic death loomed large. As they lit candles in her memory, the townspeople were left to grapple with the chilling reality that the darkness lurking in their midst had claimed one of their own. The investigation was just beginning, and the answers they sought would lead them down a path they could never have anticipated. As the sun rose over Maplewood, the once peaceful town was now a scene of chaos and despair. The police response to Emily Carter's murder was swift, with Detective Sarah Mitchell and her partner, Tom Reynolds, leading the investigation. Detective Mitchell, known for her keen intuition and relentless pursuit of justice, arrived at St. Andrew's Church with a heavy heart. She had seen her fair share of violence in her career, but the murder of a beloved community member struck a particularly painful chord. As they entered the church, the atmosphere was thick with tension. The crime scene was cordoned off, and the air was heavy with the scent of burnt candles and lingering fear. Detective Mitchell began her assessment, noting the peculiarities of the scene. There were no signs of forced entry, and the altar remained undisturbed, suggesting that Emily had not been attacked in a struggle. Instead, the scene bore an unsettling calmness, as if the violence had been premeditated and executed with chilling precision. The symbolic nature of the murder was not lost on Detective Mitchell. Emily's body lay near the altar, a place of worship and sanctuary, which only deepened the horror of the act. The positioning of her body, surrounded by a pool of blood, seemed to convey a message, a dark juxtaposition of faith and violence that left the detective grappling with the implications. This was not just a murder, it was a violation of the very sanctity of the church, a place where the community sought solace and guidance. As the forensic team began their work, key evidence started to emerge. The murder weapon, a small ornate dagger, was discovered nearby, its blade stained with Emily's blood. The dagger, typically used in ceremonial rites, raised questions about the killer's motives and connection to the church. Was this a crime of passion, or was there a deeper, more sinister purpose behind the act? In addition to the weapon, investigators found a bloody cross placed deliberately beside Emily's body. The sight of it sent chills down Detective Mitchell's spine. It was a haunting symbol that suggested a ritualistic element to the murder, leading her to consider the possibility that the killer had a personal vendetta against Emily or was driven by a warped sense of faith. The implications of these discoveries weighed heavily on the investigation, as they pointed to a perpetrator who was not only familiar with the church but also deeply intertwined with its community. As the investigation progressed, Detective Mitchell and Tom Reynolds began to piece together Emily's last known movements. They interviewed friends, family, and parishioners, seeking any clues that might lead them to the truth. Each conversation revealed a tapestry of relationships, filled with love, admiration, and perhaps hidden resentments. The community's shock at Emily's murder was palpable, but beneath the surface, tension simmered. Detective Mitchell's instincts told her that the key to solving this case lay within the very fabric of Maplewood. The townspeople who had once rallied around Emily now found themselves grappling with suspicion and fear. As they shared their memories of her, the detective noted the subtle shifts in their stories, hints of jealousy, unspoken rivalries, and the complexities of human relationships that could lead to betrayal. With each passing day, the pressure mounted. The community demanded answers, and the detectives felt the weight of their expectations. As they delved deeper into the investigation, they uncovered a web of secrets that threatened to unravel the very foundation of trust in Maplewood. The question loomed large: who among them could be capable of such a heinous act? As the investigation unfolded, Detective Mitchell knew that the truth was lurking just beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered. The clock was ticking, and with each moment that passed, the urgency to find Emily's killer intensified. The community's faith in their beloved church and its leaders was at stake, and the detectives were determined to bring justice to Emily Carter, no matter the cost. As the investigation into Emily Carter's murder deepened, Detective Sarah Mitchell and her partner, Tom Reynolds, turned their focus to the people who knew her best. They began conducting interviews with Emily's friends and family, hoping to uncover insights that could shed light on her recent behavior and the circumstances leading up to her tragic death. Lisa Thompson, one of Emily's closest friends, was visibly shaken as she recounted their last conversation. "She seemed off," Lisa admitted, her voice trembling. "Emily was always so vibrant, but in the weeks before she disappeared, she was distant. She mentioned feeling overwhelmed, like something was weighing heavily on her." Lisa recalled a particular evening when Emily confided in her about feeling watched, as if someone was lurking in the shadows of her life. "I thought she was just stressed about the festival," Lisa said, her eyes welling with tears. "But now I can't help but wonder if she was in real danger." As the detectives continued their interviews, a pattern began to emerge. Friends described Emily as a woman who had always been open and trusting, yet in the weeks leading up to her death, she had become increasingly anxious. Some mentioned a mysterious man who had been seen around town, someone who seemed to take an unusual interest in Emily. The detectives noted these comments carefully, recognizing that they could be crucial in piecing together the events leading to her murder. With the community's suspicions growing, attention turned to Father Samuel Whitaker. The once revered priest had become a focal point of the investigation, and inconsistencies in his account of the night of the murder began to surface. During his initial interview, Father Whitaker claimed he had been at the church preparing for Sunday service, but when pressed for details, his story faltered. He struggled to recall specific times and events, and his demeanor shifted from calm to defensive as the detectives probed deeper. Detective Mitchell noted the tension in the room. "Father Whitaker, can you explain why you were the last person seen leaving the church that night?" she asked, her voice steady but firm. The priest's eyes darted and he hesitated before responding, "I was just praying. I often stay late to reflect." But the detectives sensed something was amiss. The community's trust in him was beginning to wane, and whispers of doubt circulated among the parishioners. As the investigation progressed, a breakthrough came when Emily's family discovered her diary hidden in a drawer at her home. The detectives were eager to examine its contents, hoping it would provide insight into Emily's state of mind. What they found was both revealing and chilling. The diary detailed Emily's fears, her struggles with anxiety, and her growing sense of unease. In one entry, she wrote about feeling as though she was being followed, describing a man with dark hair and piercing eyes who had appeared in her life seemingly out of nowhere. "I don't know who he is, but I can't shake the feeling that he's watching me," she penned, her handwriting shaky and frantic. The mention of this mysterious figure sent a shiver down Detective Mitchell's spine. Who was this man, and what connection did he have to Emily's life? As they delved deeper into the diary, the detectives uncovered more entries that hinted at a troubling relationship. Emily had written about a confrontation with someone she had trusted, expressing feelings of betrayal and fear. "I thought I knew him, but now I see the darkness beneath the surface," she wrote, her words dripping with foreboding. The revelations from the diary painted a complex picture of Emily's life, one filled with hidden struggles and unspoken fears. The detectives realized that the key to solving her murder might lie not only in the physical evidence but also in understanding the emotional turmoil she had faced. With each new piece of information, the web of secrets surrounding Emily's life began to unravel, revealing a community grappling with the reality that someone they trusted could be capable of such violence. As the investigation continued, Detective Mitchell and Tom Reynolds knew they were on the brink of uncovering the truth, but the deeper they dug, the more dangerous the path became. The question remained: who was the mysterious man that haunted Emily's thoughts, and could he be the key to unlocking the dark secrets of her tragic fate? In the wake of Emily Carter's brutal murder, the once idyllic town of Maplewood found itself engulfed in a climate of fear and mistrust. The investigation, which had begun as a quest for justice, quickly spiraled into a whirlwind of rumors and speculation. As news spread, the community was left grappling with the unsettling reality that their sanctuary had been shattered. Whispers filled the air, echoing through the streets and permeating the very fabric of daily life. "Did you hear about the priest?" became a common refrain as residents exchanged hushed conversations about Father Samuel Whitaker. The man who had once been a source of comfort and guidance was now at the center of a storm of suspicion. The church, a place of solace, transformed into a battleground of conflicting beliefs. Some parishioners clung to their faith in Father Whitaker, insisting on his innocence, while others began to question everything they thought they knew about him. The tension in Maplewood was palpable. Divided loyalties emerged, pitting friends against friends and families against families. Those who supported Father Whitaker argued that he had dedicated his life to the community, emphasizing his years of service and the countless lives he had touched. He would never hurt anyone, they insisted, rallying around their priest in a show of solidarity. Yet, as the investigation progressed, the cracks in this unwavering support began to show. On the other side, a growing faction of townspeople believed that the evidence against Father Whitaker was too compelling to ignore. They pointed to the inconsistencies in his alibi and the chilling symbolism of Emily's murder. "How can we trust him after what happened?" they questioned, their voices tinged with anger and betrayal. The community was left to navigate a treacherous landscape of conflicting narratives, where every conversation felt charged with unspoken accusations. As the days turned into weeks, the impact of Emily's murder rippled through the community, straining relationships and testing the bonds that had once held Maplewood together. Friends who had shared laughter and joy found themselves on opposite sides of a growing divide. Social gatherings became fraught with tension, as conversations shifted from lighthearted banter to whispered discussions about the investigation. The annual Harvest Festival, once a cherished tradition, was overshadowed by the tragedy. Many residents chose to stay home, unwilling to celebrate in a town that felt so fractured. Those who did attend found themselves navigating a minefield of emotions, as old friends exchanged wary glances and hushed tones. The joy of the festival was replaced by an undercurrent of fear, as the community grappled with the reality that their lives had been irrevocably changed. Emily's murder had not only claimed a life but had also sown seeds of doubt and suspicion among those who had once felt safe in their small town. The very essence of Maplewood was at stake, as residents questioned their trust in one another. The bonds of friendship that had once seemed unbreakable were now fragile, as the specter of betrayal loomed large. As the investigation continued, the detectives worked tirelessly to uncover the truth, but the emotional toll on the community was undeniable. The question of who could be trusted hung heavily in the air, and as the detectives delved deeper into the case, they knew that the answers they sought would not only reveal the identity of Emily's killer but also determine the future of Maplewood itself. In a town where everyone knew each other, the lines between friend and foe had blurred, and the quest for justice had become a battle for the soul of the community. As the detectives pressed on, the stakes grew higher, and the truth remained tantalizingly out of reach, leaving the townspeople to wonder. Would they ever reclaim the sense of safety and trust that had once defined their lives? As the sun rose over Maplewood, the atmosphere was charged with anticipation. The trial of Father Samuel Whitaker had become the focal point of the community, drawing attention from far and wide. The courtroom, usually a place of solemnity, buzzed with tension as townspeople filled the benches, eager to witness the proceedings that would determine the fate of their once revered priest. The prosecution, led by District Attorney Rachel Simmons, presented a compelling case against Father Whitaker. They painted a picture of a man who had betrayed the trust of his congregation, suggesting that his strict demeanor and hidden secrets had culminated in a desperate act of violence. The prosecution's strategy hinged on the evidence collected during the investigation, including the murder weapon, a ceremonial dagger, and the bloody cross found at the crime scene. They argued that these elements indicated a premeditated murder, one that was not only brutal but also deeply symbolic. As the trial unfolded, emotional testimonies began to resonate with the audience. Lisa Thompson, Emily's closest friend, took the stand, her voice trembling as she recounted the last moments she had shared with Emily. She was scared, Lisa testified, her eyes glistening with tears. She told me she felt like someone was watching her. I wish I had done more to protect her. The courtroom fell silent, the weight of her words hanging heavily in the air. Lisa's heartfelt testimony painted a vivid picture of Emily's fear, further solidifying the prosecution's narrative of a woman who had been hunted. Father Whitaker's defense team, however, was determined to counter the prosecution's claims. They argued that the evidence was circumstantial and that the priest had been a victim of circumstance, caught in a web of lies and misunderstandings. The defense sought to portray him as a man of faith who had dedicated his life to serving others, emphasizing his long-standing commitment to the community. They argued that the prosecution had failed to provide a clear motive for the murder, suggesting that the real killer remained at large. As the trial progressed, pivotal moments began to shape the outcome. One of the most shocking testimonies came from David Fletcher, the hired hitman who had been apprehended shortly after the murder. Under cross-examination, Fletcher revealed that he had been approached by someone who had offered him a substantial sum to carry out the murder. "I didn't know who Emily was," he stated, his voice steady but devoid of emotion. "I was just following orders." The courtroom erupted in gasps as the implications of his testimony sank in. Who had orchestrated this heinous act? Fletcher's revelation shifted the focus of the trial, casting doubt on Father Whitaker's guilt. The defense seized the opportunity, arguing that if there was a hitman involved, it was possible that the true mastermind remained hidden within the community. The prosecution scrambled to regain control, emphasizing that Fletcher's actions were still tied to the priest, who had created an environment of fear and secrecy. As the trial neared its conclusion, the emotional weight of the testimonies began to take a toll on everyone involved. The courtroom was filled with tension as the jury deliberated, the fate of Father Whitaker hanging in the balance. The community watched with bated breath, their loyalties tested as they grappled with the possibility that their trusted leader might be guilty of such a horrific crime. In the final moments of the trial, the judge instructed the jury to consider not only the evidence presented but also the emotional impact of the testimonies. "This case is not just about the facts," he stated. "It is about the lives that have been irrevocably changed." The words resonated deeply, reminding everyone present that the trial was not merely a legal proceeding but a reflection of the community's struggle to reconcile their faith with the reality of betrayal. As the jury returned with their verdict, the tension in the courtroom was palpable. The decision would not only determine Father Whitaker's fate but also shape the future of Maplewood itself. Would justice be served, or would the community be left to grapple with the haunting question of who truly held the power to destroy lives? The outcome of the trial would reverberate through the town, leaving scars that would take years to heal. In the wake of the trial's conclusion, the town of Maplewood found itself grappling with the heavy burden of grief and uncertainty. The verdict had sent shockwaves through the community, leaving many to question the very foundations of their beliefs. St. Andrew's Church, once a sanctuary of hope and faith, now stood as a stark reminder of the betrayal that had unfolded within its walls. The congregation, divided and wounded, faced the daunting task of healing from the emotional scars left by Emily Carter's murder and the subsequent trial of Father Samuel Whitaker. As the days turned into weeks, the community sought solace in one another. Support groups formed, allowing residents to share their feelings of loss and confusion. Town meetings were held in an effort to rebuild trust and foster open dialogue about the events that had transpired. The healing process was slow and fraught with tension, but many recognized the importance of coming together to confront the darkness that had seeped into their lives. For Detective Sarah Mitchell and her partner, Tom Reynolds, the emotional toll of the investigation weighed heavily on their shoulders. Both had dedicated themselves to seeking justice for Emily, but the outcome of the trial left them questioning their own beliefs about morality and the nature of evil. Sarah often found herself reflecting on the case, replaying the testimonies in her mind and wondering if there had been signs they had missed. Tom, too, struggled with the haunting images of the crime scene and the impact it had on the community he had grown to love. The burden of their roles in the investigation lingered, a constant reminder of the fragility of trust and the complexities of human relationships. As the community began to heal, broader themes emerged from the tragedy. The events surrounding Emily's murder served as a stark reminder of the hidden darkness that can exist in seemingly righteous hearts. The betrayal of a trusted leader shattered the illusion of safety that had enveloped Maplewood, forcing residents to confront the uncomfortable truth that evil can lurk in the most unexpected places. In the aftermath, many began to reflect on the importance of vigilance and open communication. The tragedy had exposed the dangers of blind trust and the necessity of questioning even those we hold in the highest regard. The lessons learned from this harrowing experience would resonate for years to come, shaping the way the community approached relationships and faith. As Maplewood slowly began to rebuild, the residents understood that healing would take time. They honored Emily's memory by committing to fostering a culture of transparency and support, ensuring that no one would feel alone in their struggles again. The journey toward recovery was just beginning, but the community's resilience shone through as they worked to reclaim their sense of safety and trust, determined to emerge stronger from the shadows of betrayal. The tragic story of Emily Carter and the subsequent trial of Father Samuel Whitaker serves as a haunting reminder of the fragility of trust and the hidden darkness that can exist within even the most revered figures. The murder not only shattered the life of a beloved community member but also left an indelible mark on the town of Maplewood. The once close-knit community was forced to confront uncomfortable truths about betrayal, morality, and the complexities of human relationships. As the residents navigated the aftermath, they learned valuable lessons about the importance of vigilance and open communication. The emotional toll on individuals like Detective Sarah Mitchell and Tom Reynolds highlighted the profound impact that such tragedies can have on those tasked with seeking justice. Their experiences underscored the reality that the pursuit of truth often comes with a heavy burden, one that can linger long after the case is closed. In reflecting on this story, viewers are encouraged to consider the broader themes of trust, betrayal, and the hidden struggles that many face in silence. The events in Maplewood remind us that darkness can lurk in unexpected places, and it is essential to foster a culture of support and understanding within our communities. As we conclude this gripping tale, we invite you to share your thoughts on the themes presented. How do you perceive the balance between trust and vigilance in your own life? Engage with us by leaving your comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more true crime stories that delve into the complexities of human nature and the quest for justice. Together, let's continue to explore the shadows and uncover the truths that lie beneath the surface.